Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Well, I'm still in vacation after the end of fall of Starfleet, and it's driving me mad, and I need new fics. So, you know what we don't do a lot of? M-rated stories on this site. We just don't. How about we change that? And I happen to know of 11 fic series that happens to be pretty dang good. And it stars a Nicktoons character. Sit down! It features teenage robots. It features androids. It also features Irma from Witch doing a voice of an old woman. Yes, I'm talking about none other than My Life as a Teenage Robot. So sit back and relax as we here at the Free Rare Memorial Library and proud to present My Life as a Teenage Von Neumann Device. Enjoy. My Life as a Teenage Von Neumann Device by Solomon Grundy or Toonspew. It's not really specific here. Okay, let's just say Toonspew and be done with it. Chapter 1. Jenny sighed happily, eyes closed, basking in the warmth tingling through her metallic skin. Sensations like this were new to Jenny. As a result, she had the tendency to become lost in them. Sometimes they thought there were nothing more pleasant than to just stretch out on a clear day and enjoy the breeze brushing past her face and the sun's rays glinting off her body. Okay, all set, let's go, said Brad enthusiastically, closing the door in front of his house behind him and walking Jenny from her daydream. The two friends quickly walked towards the school, both eager to begin their new school year. It had been a whole summer since they had seen many of their friends. And plus, there was the added excitement of finding out what their teachers they had, who was all in their classes, and altogether hubbub of a new semester. Brad and Jenny talked excitedly as they walked, catching up on their adventures from the summer.
So, is summer camp as fun as it looks?
Inquired Jenny. It was a blast, replied Brad. There were tons of sports, swimming, and ghost stories and camping and fun. I can hardly wait to go back next summer. Then I'll be old enough to work as a counselor there.
Wow, I'm so jealous,
Jenny said with a hand to Jackson. I was stuck here in Tremonton all summer. Well, except for trips for superhero stuff.
but that's not really the same.
The best part was the dynasty guys and me sneaked across the lake to go visit the girls' camps. Brad grinned. Jenny looked down with a confused look on her face.
Why were you in separate camps? They kept the girls on the other side of the lake?
Brad stalled. What did you do over summer? I bet I missed some awesome superhero fights, right? Jenny nodded.
Here and there. Mostly cluster attacks.
Plus the return of Humicles. Most of the big stuff was over in Japan, actually. Jenny closed her nightstick to her, visiting.
To be honest, it was pretty quiet.
Compared to the norm. Maybe supervillains just don't like the heat. So then, how did you spend your free time? Asked Brad. Helping your mom with scientist stuff?
No, I didn't see a lot of Mom, actually. I mean, I got my annual upgrade, and I see her around the house and all, but she spends a lot of time over at Sheldon's place now.
You see, the school got Sheldon a co-op student placement summer job, and it ended up being as my mom's assistant. So now they're working on something in his garage. Any idea what it is? Asked Brad, curious.
Nope. Mom says I'm not allowed.
Whenever I run Sheldon, he gets distracted. It can't work. Well, this is a relief for me anyway. Rather than not spend my day listening to stories about comic book characters and trying not to think about the shrine in his closet. Jenny had a sharp pass through her, finding Sheldon's attention to her far more creepy than flattering. Brad flashed his usual knowing smile, well practiced to present the illusion that he knew much more about the situation than he let on. That boy sure has it bad for you, he stated, as with a profound insight. Jenny frowned and didn't reply, letting the subject drop. Brightening, she decided to change the subject.
You didn't ask me about my upgrade yet.
Brad smiled. Well, yeah. How was it then? What'd you get? Is it X-ray vision? Because that would be so cool. Brad made little circles with his thumbs and index fingers, worried about his face and pantomimic goggles.
No. Remember those faulty touch receptors I tried on last year? Well, Mom finally finished and installed them. You can't see them now because they're attached just under my external casing. But they're here. I'm still working my way through all the situations. But so far I've got hot, cold, wind, soft, wet, fuzzy, sharp, it's sticky, rough, and electrical shock. It's been fun finding new combinations all the time. For example, getting my morning waxing buff is a whole different experience. Jenny's eyes half closed dreamily as he grinned at the memory.
Brad got denied about and smirked.
Oh yeah, does tickle still work? Before she could answer, Brian launched a tickling attack, squirming his fingers rapidly over Jenny's exposed midriff, making the robotic girl squeak. Laughing hard and feebly trying to push Brad away, Jenny pleaded, yes, it works, yes, please stop. Jenny fell off the sidewalk and onto the grass, closing her eyes to protect her from Brad's assault. When she had calmed down, Brad stepped closer, extending her hand to help her up. Oh, and now I'm supposed to trust you to be gentlemanly? Quipped Jenny, even as she took his hand and was helped to her feet. Standing, Jenny waited for Brad to respond with a joke, was surprised when none came. She looked into Brad's eyes and found her own voice momentarily gone, confused by a new facial expression on Brad she didn't recognize. She furrowed her features for some clue until Brad, startled, looked away, a hint of red in his cheeks. Jenny? Jenny tilted her head to one side questioningly. You can let go of my hand now. Coming to her senses, Jenny quickly released her grip on Brad's hand and pulled her arm back to his chest, holding with her right hand. Jenny stammered. No, it's just Nathan. She lied, covering her embarrassment. Brad replied with a quick nod, starting towards school again in an attempt to overcome the awkward moment. Jenny did a quick check of her internal clocks. The whole exchange lasted only 2.4 seconds. Why did it feel like it was so much longer? As Trevor and Hike came into view, Brad made one last-ditch effort for a normal conversation with his friend. So, you never did tell me how you spent your time during the summer. Jenny thought for a moment, rummaging through her memory files and totaling up how many hours she spent at various activities. There were internal and external system checks performed in front of her mirror to make sure she maintained a fighting trim physique. There were hours spent ingesting cans of motor oil while stretched out in front of the television. Then more hours in the chemical shower washing the dirty bits of oil that collected in her joints as her system worked lubricant through her body through the course of the day. There were afternoons she passed playing silly games with Tuck. There were a few disastrous attempts at mingling with the teenagers who were hanging out the beach. She remembered being extremely proud at her attempt to reshape her blue skirt and top into a metallic two-piece bikini. She actually thought she looked quite attractive in it. And she does. Fortunately, she wasn't nearly as buoyant as the other swimmers, and her bikini design allowed grains of sand to work their way into portions of her anatomy that were normally kept hermetically sealed. In the end, it had been a bit discouraging and rather uncomfortable experience. But when all her summer's hours had been tying up, one activity occupied the bulk of her free time. Locking herself in her room and poring over a messy stack of teen mags and cutouts of her favorite crushes. What could she say? Jenny entered a phase where it could easily be called boy crazy. Her earlier saves were hunky models from her fashion mags and sensitive-looking actors from the most popular chick flicks. Her favorite was a Latino actor, Sanso, who had starred in action films early in his career, that may have moved to more passionate romance films. Then, about the same time she began attending high school, the majority of the clippings switched over to pictures of Don Prima, the resident popular, snobby, and attractive rich boy. Even though she knew he had plenty of bad qualities, Jenny had still been nuts over Don. What she still was, really. If he asked her out today, she probably would have said yes. But Don was no longer her sole interest. Recently, a new robotic superhero moved to Trevorton and set up shop. His name was the Silver Shell, and for the moment Jenny laid eyes on him, she had felt like she was walking on air, sometimes literally when her flight systems kicked in accidentally. Jenny knew she should have been at least mildly displeased that another superhero was honing in on her turf. So there was a certain point of pride about a superhero being competent enough to keep their home safe. But Jenny didn't really care in the slightest. She was simply thrilled to have a cute robot boy in town who, as far as Jenny could tell, was single. He hadn't responded to Jenny's advances yet, but Jenny knew it was only a matter of time. After all, it's not like there were any other robot girls in the area, and Jenny hadn't picked up even a blip on her radar. Jenny had never attempted to track Silver Sail to his home base. She felt little need. Mates seemed to have a way of making their paths cross again and again. In the meantime, Jenny had started a sizable collection of newspaper clippings from each personal public appearance Silver Cell made. This was how most of her summer had been spent, lying prone on her bed or reclining in her beanbag chair. Clippings of Silver Cell spread out all across her as he oogled the small curves of his chassis, and the shades of his bulging servos hid just underneath his armored skin. Often Jenny liked to lay back on her dream chair, set to its low setting, granting a customized fancy about her crush. Most often, its daughter was surrounded by a horde of clustered warriors, fighting a Uzi Bao. Then out of the mist, the Silver Cell would arrive, often riding the mechanical bull he had been wrestling when she had first met him. He would charge in, knocking cluster flunkies aside. Then, side by side, the two of them would defeat their enemies and say to say. Silver Cell would then turn and embrace her. The two would share a passionate, robotic kiss. "You have the most beautiful optics," he would say, followed by, "You must have been a symbol in heaven." Or sometimes, "Was your designer an artist?" Whatever sweet nothings Jenny could imagine at the time. In the course of summer, her fantasies became more and more elaborate. First, she altered it so Sarah Cell's torso armory would be damaged during the fight. Afterwards, Jenny would remove it to check for internal damage, stripping its upper half down to her bare casing. Next, she altered her fantasy to imagine grubbing his rear while they kissed, her hands gently squeezing his cute little bumper to her heart's content. In her most recent edit, she had him return to favor, sneaking the back of her skirt up and placing his hands around her upper thighs, stroking his way inward, moving in between her legs. Jenny's eyes snapped open when she realized Brad was still waiting for her answer. She slowed down her memory playback to the point where she was moving through her fantasy sequence in real time. It spent 45 seconds or so in a daydream. "Reading!" she blurted out, scrambling for something to say. "I spent most of my time reading." Brad gave her a confused, slightly annoyed look, then pushed open the school's door. "Whatever," he said dismissively. "I'll see you in third period in math." He had, before running off down the hallway and heading for homeroom. Jenny glanced up at a wall clock. She had a minute and a half before she would be late. "Perfect, just enough time," she thought to herself, ducking into the girls' washroom and finding an empty stall. Jenny took a seat on the toilet and hiked up her skirt around her hips, already swallowing a trickle of fluid making its way down her inner thigh. "How's afraid of this?" she thought with frustration, grabbing a handful of toilet paper and mopping up the leak. "Every time I start thinking about Silver Cell, I start leaking this fluid." Jenny dragged a wad of toilet paper up across her thigh, back to the source of the leak, where it was dripping from the side of her traffic-halting and odor-neutralizing garment. Releasing the hatches on either side of the gullet, Jenny pulled away the front panel, stretching out a slimy strand of ficus fluid from the soiled thong to her waist-level knee support, was successfully pumping out clear liquid. Gathering up more tissue, Jenny mopped up the mess, cleaning her garment as best as she could, stemming the flow from her body. "Come on, stick up anything but Silver Cell," she told herself, fighting back the flow of force of will. "Think about school, busting mirrors, saving people, Bradley, better than think about Brad." Finally, the fluid seemed to start up. Jenny tossed a damp wad of tissue paper into the toilet. Jenny stood up, retested the front arm of her undergarment. Let's see. "You." She felt the damp device snap back against her body. "Sometimes I wish I didn't have nerves installed," she joked barely to herself, playing her skirt to make sure everything looked presentable. On her way to class, Jenny tried her best not to show her embarrassment. She hadn't even told her mother and creator, Mrs. Wakeman, about any of this. On top of the shame of somehow having her damage her waistport, arguably her most private of functions, she had to own up of having a daydream about fondling a boy as the cause of the malfunction. Or at least, Jenny could only assume it was a result of her daydreams, since the two seemed connected. New thought entered her mind now. Had she damaged her port somehow? Perhaps while changing her undergarment? Washing herself? Well, her dark corroded metal had gotten lost up in there, and she was rusting internally at this very moment. "Get her, girl. You can investigate this more when you get home." Steeling herself, Jenny pressed on the first class of the day. Something her eyes fell on what she dreaded the most. The majority of students in class were bunched up in a corner, hovering around Brittany and Tiffany Caress, laughing, smiling, and fascinated by their every word. Jenny groaned, knowing this was going to be a difficult way to start the year. Though, if she didn't make some friends now, she'd be alone in this class the whole semester. So Jenny approached the class and pretended to join the conversation. And so it begins. "You know where this is going. Tune in next Sunday where we're going to continue this whole entire thing. I should warn you, this is going to be a lot more mature than my usual stuff, so, if you get a little squeamish about robot sex, I'll try my best to warn you where the lemons start. Okay? Enjoy!